Thanks for joining us on our latest virtual webinar here at Chi Fraternity. We have Jon Gordon, a Psi from 1993, who has joined us to talk about how to stay positive during some difficult times. So thanks for joining us, Jon.
Hey, it's great to be with you. I just want to say I love Chi Psi so much. It was such a huge part of my life. I was president of my fraternity. I learned so much about leadership there. And I would not be who I am today if I didn't have the experience of being part of Chi Psi. I know a lot of people right now are struggling with negativity and some challenges, uncertainty. And a lot of my work is around positivity now and positive leadership. And one thing I know is that positive leaders find a way forward. They overcome the challenges. They overcome the obstacles. They overcome the uncertainty in order to create a brighter and better future. Just as stars shine the brightest in the darkness, positive people shine the most through adversity. And this is our time to show our positivity. Now, when I say positivity, I'm not talking about Pollyanna positive. This is not about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. This is knowing that you have the power to overcome the thorns. Pessimists do not change the world. It's the optimists, the believers, the dreamers, and the doers that have the greatest impact. Duke University did a study on optimists, and they found that they worked harder, got paid more, and were more likely to succeed in business and sports. And what they found was that these optimists, because they believed in a brighter and better future, they then took the actions necessary to create it. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you believe during this time will determine what you create. So we have to stay positive in order to overcome the challenges to create our success.
Great. The first question we have is, as a current student, how do I manage my own expectations on campus next semester since so much will have changed?
The key is to control what you control. There's a lot we can't control, but you can control your attitude and how you show up every day. And you can show up with a positive attitude, deciding to win today. Like every day, I'm just going to make the most of today. I'm going to win each day. And if I win each day, I'll create a great future. Again, there's going to be a lot we don't know. There's going to be a lot that happens that we're not expecting. But at the same time, we have to be willing to change. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And it's through that discomfort that we actually grow the most. It's through the challenges that we find opportunities. So whenever you find yourself getting down or a little frustrated, just realize this is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to improve, to get better. I've had to do that with my business. I'm a writer and speaker. We do leadership training and consulting, and we're not doing a lot of that right now in terms of physical events. We usually do 4 physical events a year. Well, we just adapted and created a virtual leadership event, and we had 150 people for our event. We have another 100 people for this week's event. So we've adapted, we've learned, we've grown, and we've actually grown in ways that we would not have done so if it wasn't for this challenge that we face. So when you go back, just be open, be flexible, be adaptable. And it's actually those that adapt will be the ones that actually could thrive as a result of what they're going through.
And so, especially from the fraternity point of view, this is groups of young men who are used to living together and spending much of their days together, much of their weeks together, whether they're at school or even on break, they're always connected in some way, shape, or form. So once we do get back to some sense of normalcy, there's still going to be issues as far as distancing and things like that. But how can Chi Psi brothers specifically kind of lean on each other, even if it's from a distance, like from a virtual setting?
Well, we reach out to people, we text, we FaceTime, we find different ways to communicate and to connect. And we've been doing that all along, right? A lot of times we can't get together with our friends, but we reach out in a lot of virtual ways. A lot of young people are really good at that. And so I'm doing that with my friends. I'm doing that with my colleagues. I'm doing that with my kids. And so just finding ways to connect is really the key. And make sure that you do connect though, because it's easy to sometimes isolate yourself from others. You do have to reach out. You do have to make sure that if you have some friends that maybe they're going through a tough time, reach out to them, inspire someone today, encourage someone today. When you're doing that, you're making them feel better, but then you feel better as well. That's really a key thing that you can do during this time. But I do have a feeling we go back to school, I do believe they're going to be doing testing and so forth. So you'll be able to actually physically connect with your friends and so forth, knowing who's been tested and who who's safe. I think that's going to be something that we'll find out. I'm not the doctor, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with people. I work with a lot of sports teams, and a lot of my teams I work with are actually now in training camps and so forth. And they've had some positive tests. I work with Clemson football, and they've had some positive tests. And they're going through quarantine and so forth right now. But after those tests come back and they get tested again and they're fine, they'll be reintroduced to their team and their teammates and spend time with each other once again. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to actually have a lot of good physical time with each other after we go through the weird introductory part of probably getting tested.
Yeah, that's the hope. And, it's even in that ideal situation where we can get back to being physically closer and everything on campus. There are things specific to Greek life, like recruitment and things like that, that are going to look different. And that could be discouraging to some people just because they've done it one way for so long. And now it's this whole new ball game. So are there any just, I guess, recommendations or mechanisms that you would, that you use yourself for similar situations where, this won't affect people too negatively?
Yeah, you're going to have to recognize that things are going to be different. We will have to do things differently, recruiting and so forth. But you may find new ways of doing things that you'll actually use going forward, like the way you adapt, like the fact that we're doing virtual leadership training now. It's something we will do forever. We'll still have our physical events when things come back, but we'll always be doing some virtual events now. So you can actually find some new techniques, some new strategies to recruit some great new brothers for the fraternity. And as you do that, those techniques and strategies will actually be part of you going forward. They'll help you. So how can we get stronger now? How can we adapt and innovate? When you get into the business world and you start a business or you are working with a business, you're going to have to innovate. You're going to have to adapt if you actually want to grow and be a leader. And so learn these lessons now to be flexible, to be adaptable, so that you can succeed. I call it the curse of experience. Too many people have the curse of experience where they're not willing to change. They focus on the good old days, the way things used to be. Instead, we want to think like a rookie. Rookies don't know about the good old days. Rookies just put their head down, they work hard, they find new ways of doing things. They're actually naive enough to be successful. They think anything is possible, and they wind up coming up with new great ideas to create success. That's what you want to think like. You want to think like a rookie, do not have the curse of experience.
Very good. I'm glad you mentioned that. We have heard from some alphas this summer who, they've all had to adapt for their alpha meetings and philanthropies and things like that. And a few of them have given us the feedback that, we didn't realize how much was possible from this new virtual standpoint. So we're looking forward to implementing that moving forward. You're obviously a business leader. You're a very successful writer and speaker, and you were the president of your alpha at Cornell. So I was wondering if you could just speak directly to alpha leaders like number ones and the executive council members, not about how they can kind of take a leadership role during these times.
The key aspect of a leader is communication. Communication is essential in leadership. And so we have to communicate, because where there's avoided communication, negativity will fill it. And the way we lead is through communication. The way we connect with others is through communication. So you want to communicate to connect. And you want to make sure that you're connecting to develop great relationships with those that you lead. A lot of times as leaders, we fall short in our communication. I always say, ask your team, ask your brothers, ask your colleagues on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do I communicate with you? On a scale of 1 to 10. And then what would make it a 10? You're going to get a lot of great feedback on how you can improve your communication. And so make sure you're communicating collectively as an organization, but also communicate one-on-one with the people that you lead. Find time to ask people how they're doing, get feedback, get ideas. When you communicate one-on-one, you build strong relationships, and relationships are the foundation upon which winning organizations are built. So make sure that you're actually taking the time for those one-on-one relationships, as well as the collective meetings that you have to have as a leader. Also, communicate with optimism and with belief. Leadership is a transfer of belief. So you want to make sure that you're communicating that belief and that optimism to the people that you lead. I had a tough group of brothers when I was leading. They didn't want to listen much, and they were a big partying bunch. And I was always trying to like wrangle them in. It was not easy. To this day, I laugh because they were like the hardest group I've ever had to lead. But the way you're able to lead them is through love tough, not tough love, but love tough. If they knew that I loved them and I cared about them, then I earned the right to challenge them. If I was always yelling at them and getting on them, but not building the relationship through love and through care, then they wouldn't listen to me. So you got to invest in them, build the relationship, and then you can challenge them to be their best.
You're obviously an expert in positivity and optimism and leadership. So, in your personal experience, you're going through the same, pandemic situation as everyone else. What's your kind of favorite mechanism for staying positive on the toughest days?
The best advice I ever heard is from Dr. James Gills, the only person on the planet to complete 6 double Ironman triathlons. That's a double Ironman, which means you do an Ironman, a day later you do another one. And the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. He was asked how he did it. He said this: I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. He said, if I listen to myself, I hear all the fear, all the doubt, all the complaints, and all the reasons why I can't finish the race. But if I talk to myself, I can feed myself with the words and the encouragement that I need to keep on moving forward. So talk to yourself instead of listen to yourself. Don't listen to the negative thoughts. Don't listen to the fear and the doubts. Instead, speak truth, speak words of encouragement to those negative thoughts and lies. And they are lies because you would never choose those negative thoughts. And the truth is, you're here to do great things. The truth is, you're going to get through this time. The truth is, your future is bright. The truth is, you do have greatness inside of you. And you want to do great things because deep down you know that there is greatness within you to create a great outcome. And so live that truth each day. Talk to yourself with those words of encouragement, and you'll move forward with power, with truth, and with greater purpose for your life. It's the number one thing that I do each day because I get fear, I get doubts, and I know that I have to overcome them. And the way I do that is by always speaking words of encouragement to myself. By the way, the word encourage means to put courage into. So when you encourage yourself, you put courage into yourself. When you encourage a brother, you're putting courage into them. We need to share more encouragement.
Wow, that's great advice. Well, thank you so much, John. Just wanted to, leave you with a chance to say any closing remarks you might have, but we really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us about this today.
Yeah, I think you should remember 3 words as you move forward in your life. I want to share something not just for today, but for the rest of your life. These 3 words are the greatest leadership principles of all. They're the greatest leadership strategies of all. And they're to love, to serve, and to care. If you love people and you're here to serve them and show you care, you truly will stand out as a leader. If you have a business and you love and serve and care, you'll build and grow your business. I always say, don't focus on building your business. Focus on loving, serving, and caring, taking care of those you lead, taking care of your customers, and then your business will exponentially grow. And it's the same way in a fraternity. If you truly love each other, you serve each other, you care about one another, you're going to be a great organization, a great team, and you're going to make a greater difference in your college. Thank you so much.